On this episode, we're going to talk about the Supreme Court reinstating President Trump's travel ban, the NFL giving millions to the Players Coalition to basically try to stop these national anthem protests, a little bit on the Kate Steinle trial verdict, and some tax reform and some Second Amendment, I guess all legislation that's going on right now, and also talk with Joshua Thifault about the Student Action Summit by Turning Point USA. So stick around to this episode of Trend Chat. Welcome everybody to another episode of Trend Chat. I'm your host, Brian Bledsoe. And if you want to connect with us, whether on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, it's all the same name, Trend Chat 24/7. And if you want to read some of my articles on politics.com, just go to politics.com/author/Brian Bledsoe. And being Christmas time, definitely would like everyone to pick up a copy of Politics, A Clearing Call to Political Activism, which is available on Barnes & Noble and Amazon, with over 300 pages of contributors like myself with articles talking about social issues or political issues, activism, education, healthcare, and more. The article about becoming a national delegate going to the Republican National Convention last year, that's my contribution to the book, which is in the section called Activism. So like I said, definitely will appreciate everyone picking up one of those books. If like I said before, get 5 of them. Like I said, it is Christmas time, so go ahead and get those Christmas gifts and make a book one of those gifts. So I know I mentioned a number of things I was going to talk about. And it probably sounds like, this sounds like it's going to be an hour-long podcast with all those topics, which, it can't be because it can only be 4 to 5 minutes. And plus, we definitely want to get to Joshua Thifault to talk about the Student Action Summit. So we're definitely going to get to that. But it just all those things are just things that was been on my mind, and things have been going on recently. So I guess I'll just start with something that just happened. At least the news of it was yesterday, was that the Supreme Court has reinstated President Trump's travel ban. So I know that it's caused so many headlines all this year. By first putting it on and then being blocked and back and forth and going from this judge to this judge, and now it went to the Supreme Court, and now it's been reinstated. So I remember back when it first was introduced, that there was some criticism in how it was presented. And okay, maybe that was true, but I really didn't see any problem with the ban itself. I think people just wanted to be outraged with it just because of what countries were named in that executive order. But now that it's finally reinstated, I don't think this is the end of it. I'm pretty sure they're gonna have I wouldn't be surprised you get some more judges come out and try to block it again. Pretty sure you're gonna have some states gonna probably not follow what's the order of the ban and all that. I can definitely see that happening. Everyone going to try to make their stand, make their point to make it seem like it's such a discriminatory or such an evil policy. And I would say these are the same people that would rather play with the national security of our country just to not to appear, I say appear to be, whether they want to say Islamophobic or whatever, because everyone wants to, like I said, travel ban. Most liberals will call it a Muslim ban. And so I'm pretty sure there are going to be others out there. They're going to be, I don't know. I don't think this is over, unfortunately, and that's pretty much all I really have on it. So that's what I was saying as far as not going to really get too much into it, because honestly, I don't think this is the end of it. Hopefully it is, but like I said, unfortunately, I don't think it is. Now, also on Friday, we had the verdict in the Kate Steinle trial, where an illegal immigrant killed Kate Steinle a couple of years ago. And this illegal immigrant he's been deported 5 times before and was back again. And he said himself that the reason why, because all this happened in San Francisco, and he said himself that the reason why he chose to come back, to go to San Francisco, because of the sanctuary city policy, where they won't report illegal aliens to ICE. So he said it right there. The reason why, as an illegal immigrant, I chose to go somewhere that would not report me, which that's kind of what criminals do. They go to the places where they know they won't be found, or at least have a culture of the law enforcement maybe look over them. So that's not surprising. It was good to actually get that statement from him to kind of make that point. So now you had him back on the streets, and he killed Kate Steinle. Now, the thing about it, people mentioned that throughout the trial, it was considered an accident, which it very well could have been, where he picked up the gun and then it went off and it ricocheted and hit Kate Steinle, as opposed to kind of like just willfully, looking at her and, wanting to shoot her. Well, okay, if that's the case, okay. Still, the point is that this guy shouldn't have been here anyway, because like I said, he's been deported 5 times. And it's funny. Well, not so much funny. It's kind of ironic, because you hear of other illegal immigrants who have been deported even more than 5 times, like 10, 20 times. And it just really shows how broken this immigration system is, in just not enforcing the laws that we already have, because the people was already deported. And then you have all these major cities who tend to want to look the other way when it comes to, turning illegal aliens, especially criminals, they're turning them over to the proper authorities. But like I said, that being said, that tragic event happened to the Steinle family, and Kate Steinle was shot, and we had the trial, and the illegal immigrant was found not guilty on murder charges. He had other charges on him, but the ones that people was focusing on were the murder, first degree murder, second degree murder, manslaughter. But he was found guilty on possession of a firearm. So he was guilty of something, but if the fact that it was considered an accident, then the first degree murder taken off. Okay, that's understandable. Second degree, that's understandable. But manslaughter was also included in those lists of charges, and that's the one thing that for me I don't understand why. At least manslaughter should have been at least charged with that. I felt the evidence that they presented during the trial was enough for manslaughter, but he didn't even get charged for that. Now that the verdict has happened, and then ICE put out a statement saying that they are pursuing to deport this illegal immigrant again, as soon as they're able to get custody of him. And if like I said, this man been deported 5 times already. Now, the fact that he had to go through this trial now and everything that happened, maybe he won't come back because I mean, to be honest, he really caught a break by not being charged in this case. So he may not come back, but even still, with the times that he's been deported already, I don't see what will stop him from, being deported and coming right back to the loving arms of San Francisco again. Because why not? Because he already said before that the reason why he went to San Francisco is because of their sanctuary city policy. So if you do choose to come back, you'll probably just come right back to San Francisco, and San Francisco will do what they normally do. And as far as just overlooking the security of their own citizens over illegal immigrants, that's what they basically have stated that. And I'm sure there's so many people that want to mention, well, it's about keeping a good rapport with the citizens here to not deport illegal immigrants, to not report to ICE these illegal immigrants. And that's just nonsense. They just basically want to keep a block of people that they will hope in the future one day to vote for them. They may not be able to vote now, at least legally be able to vote for them now, but I think they just want to keep them here as much as possible, and not only the people themselves, but also generations, their children as well, to hopefully in the future just change the demographics of the country to where they can definitely have a consistent, lower voting base. That's where I see why, a lot of people who are so adamant in wanting to just want to keep illegal immigrants as much, by any means necessary. But that's where we're at now. And also, I wasn't surprised either when I heard the news about it. Disappointing, yeah. But remember, we're all talking about California. So it wasn't surprising in that sense because that's California. And a lot of those people, a lot of the citizens in California are, they agree with a lot of these liberal positions. I mean, if that wasn't the case, then it wouldn't be such a liberal state, now would it? So to have this verdict go the way it went, like, well, you thought, you would hope that California maybe had some sense in having, this woman die because of an illegal immigrant was here, being deported so many times, and if the laws were actually being enforced, this wouldn't have happened. Even as an accident, this wouldn't have happened if you would just enforce the laws that you already have on the books. I mean, it's not like we're talking about, new legislation or a new law in effect. No, just follow the laws that are already there. But they don't even want to do that. So it's a disappointing, very disappointing outcome, but not surprising at all, really. So yeah, that's all I had on those two things, and I guess I get to the next couple of things after a couple of words from our friends with the Founder Project.
Hello, Trend Chat listeners. If you like the Founding Project's Civics Education video series, Civics for All Ages, and our educational meme series, we think you will love our new website. Join us at thefoundingproject.com and be a part of the civics movement. The Founding Project is a 501c3 education nonprofit. Please join us today.
So, the NFL has been dealing with these national anthem protests for, now almost 2 seasons. And Colin Kaepernick's out there getting his awards from every liberal group that wants to hand out awards to everyone who's, I guess, so quote unquote brave and courageous and whatever for taking a knee. And while Colin Kaepernick's out there doing that, the NFL had, I guess you can say, it has cowered, well, finally given up and decided to give some of their funds, some money to the Players Coalition. It's kind of like this the main group that it came together and wanting to basically negotiate their terms for this national anthem protest, in a way holding the NFL hostage. And there was a story came out that the NFL decided to give, I think, $86 to $100 million to this coalition to promote, like social justice. I just put it that way. And I wouldn't be surprised Black Lives Matter get some of this money. Who knows? But it's going to be a lot of money going towards basically feeding into the misperception of police brutality or rampant epidemic police brutality or whatever issues that I think are just being overblown and kind of just being used to just to further a liberal progressive agenda, more so. But there's also was a story that some of these players in the coalition actually didn't agree with what the NFL was offering. And because of the way how it was being, how the money was being allocated. And it came out that the money that the NFL was planning to use, that they were going to give these NFL players, after, like I said, $86 to $100 million, but they were going to take the money from breast cancer, awareness, I guess, programs or projects they had, and also the Salute to Service, the program. So they were going to take money from those two things and then give that to the Players Coalition. And you had some of the players they didn't like that. Obviously, in one sense, because that looks bad. That would look bad for them because the word gets out that the NFL took money from breast cancer and troops to give to these players, just for their cause or for whatever they want to advocate for. And I can understand they probably didn't want to take that money away, mainly just because of how it looks, or just even if you support those two causes, you didn't want their money to be taken away just to give them money. So these NFL players want some new money. They want the owners to give them, something, all on their own. They want they want the owners to pony up, basically, because right now they were just kind of shuffling the money around, but they want the owners to actually pay more money to their cause. They wanted to pay to them, not take it from someone else. And honestly, I don't think this is a exercise in where they will never be satisfied. Would they get this money? Because some of them said that they're not going to stop protesting, even if they would have got the money. I mean, if I was the NFL, then what's the point? We're just trying to get this behind us, and you just want to continue to protest. Just, you know what? Forget it. We'll just go on and try to weather the storm as much as possible, and you just don't get any money. How about that? I mean that's how I would look at it. And if I was the owner and I definitely didn't agree with what these protests are about, I wouldn't care about trying to give them any more money. Like, you either take this deal or take nothing. And I'm pretty sure the players will be like, well, we'll just continue protesting. And I'll be like, well, fine. As long as you keep running on that field, I really don't care. So, I can see a lot of owners feeling that way. I mean, that's how I would say it. That's how I would say it, But, so I think in the end, they're going to get their money. And who knows, maybe the owners might give them money. I don't know. I don't know how many of these owners feel strongly for or against this whole issue. But I think something's going to happen. I think they're going to get the money, but I also think they're going to continue to protest. So really, I don't know what the owner's going to really accomplish if they get this deal done with the players, with the player coalition. I know at this point, and if they're still talking about continuing to protest after they receive it, honestly, I would just try to get the money back and just say, forget it. I know they can't do that because so many of these players are caught up in this whole deal, and kind of gotten to the point that you got to continue this, whole movement or whatnot. So I think this is something they're not going to get rid of anytime soon. And well, a lot of this is basically on the NFL. If they wanted to do something about it, they could have, but they choose not to. So now you're dealing with it. So kind of move on to some other issues. I know, tax reform is still being bandied about in Congress. And also this week, I don't know how many of you actually know about this, but there's a bill called HR 38, which is the Concealed Carry Reciprocity Bill, which basically is a bill that would make concealed carry, legal across state lines. Will basically make your permit, is legal anywhere else, where you don't have to. Where if you go to one state and go to another state, you have to wonder if your license is considered legal in another state. This bill would make it legal, across all 50 states. And that is on the calendar. That is going to be voted on this week. So I know I've gone ahead and called my congressman to give my support for it. And I just want to let you know about it. So if you want to, you can either call your congressman in support of it. And like I said, I just want to let y'all know about that. So with all that being said, we're going to get to our interview with Joshua. And before that, let's hear another word from our friends with the Founder Project.
Hello to fans of Trend Chat and Brian Bledsoe. The Founding Project an education nonprofit dedicated to civics, invites you to visit our brand new website. Visit us at thefoundingproject.com. Be a part of the civics movement with The Founding Project. The Founding Project is a 501c3 education nonprofit. Please join us today.
So, in a couple of weeks in West Palm Beach, it's going to be an event called the Student Action Summit by a great group. I've talked to a number of people with this group, and that would be Turning Point USA. And we talked with Joshua Thifault about the event coming up, and just wanted to play our interview with him, give y'all some more information on that. And also, we talked a little bit about some of the current events that I've just talked about now. And so, without any further ado, here is our interview with Joshua. Hello, this is Trent Chat, and we are pleased to have the Director of Advancement with Turning Point USA, Joshua Thifault, with us. How are you doing?
I'm living the dream. How are you doing today?
Doing all right. I definitely want to talk about the upcoming Student Summit coming up in a couple of weeks. Well, it's like 2 weeks now, right?
Yes, everything gets started December 19th and goes for 4 days here in Palm Beach, Florida.
Okay. Yeah, I want to talk about that, but it's a couple of other things. I kind of want to talk about current news and some things that are going on. Kind of want to get your opinion on it. And last week we had the verdict of the Kate Steinle case, and the illegal immigrant who was on trial, who was found not guilty on murder. He was found guilty on one charge of possessing a firearm, but that wasn't, the charge everyone was looking at. But I just want to get your thoughts on that verdict.
So Turning Point USA did not take an official stance on that situation, but me speaking personally, I was incredibly disappointed but not surprised. In California, we have not seen law and order reign. We've seen that despite a continued spike in violence of many types, the state is not getting serious and doing what it has to do to lock down a very dangerous situation. There are most likely millions of people running around California who are undocumented, illegal, whichever terminology you would like to use. And I have a number of friends in the sheriff's departments, police departments, SWAT, over in especially the Southern California area, and it makes their job immensely hard, not only when it comes to basic enforcement of the law, but also prosecuting people afterwards, because it adds so many political motives to the situation.
Yeah, it's something that I mentioned as well, that I wasn't surprised either. Like you said, I was disappointed as well. But but we're all talking about California here, so that's the unfortunate part of it. Now, also I know I saw Turning Point, well, at least one of the chapters in Turning Point. Kind of going to another subject is there was an article at Texas State, basically saying white people's DNA is an abomination. I kind of wanted to ask you, as far as that, given that one of the chapters posted something about that, I just wanted to get some more information about that whole deal.
Well, from what I've heard, it shows that we allow our chapters a lot of freedom for the issues that they want to comment on and take a stand on. They only focus on four main pillars: free market capitalism, limited government, personal liberty, and standing with the nation of Israel. But we also stand for common sense. And this is one of those cases where if you're not speaking out against this nonsense, then I really question your motive politically. And there are a lot of groups that were very silent on this, trying not to step on any toes. But if you were saying that somebody's DNA is an abomination for any reason, especially skin color, I would say that we're dealing with a remarkably racist individual or group, and I'm disappointed that more people in the Texas area were not decrying that for the racism that it is.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a partial issue. It shouldn't be. I mean, regardless of which race you're talking about, that sort of language should not, definitely shouldn't be accepted. Now, the fact that we're definitely for free speech, but what I'm saying is that this should be called out for what it is. And, if you flip that about any other race, that definitely would be called what it would be accurately called, and that would be racism.
Yeah, well, what would happen if there was any type of similar statement made about anyone who had a skin color different than white? You would see that person completely ostracized by society. They would lose their job and get kicked out of school and be vilified by the nation and maybe the world. And I would even say rightfully so. In our age of social media, we have a wonderful opportunity to expose evil in a way that just was not possible for most of human history. And those blatant racist ideologies, whether they're targeting whites, whether they're targeting blacks, whether they're targeting Latinos, we need to aggressively fight as a society because they will hold us back remarkably.
Yeah, definitely agree with you on there. And we're kind of speeding through some of the current events. We want to just talk a little bit about each one. But right now, we have the tax reform bill, which was passed in the Senate on early Saturday morning, and haven't got through it all yet. Still not finished and to get on President Trump's desk, but making progress so far, at least. And I would say the good kind of progress. I just want to ask you, as far as the bill, and I just said for myself, I definitely would say that it could be better. There could be other things in there as well, but it definitely is a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I agree with you there, and it can always be better. And as you probably know, ideologically, I'm a pretty crazy Rand Paul style conservatarian. So I wish that we could cut the taxes even lower for middle class and even lower for the upper class and even lower for the lower class. But that's just not going to happen. The big win, first of all, is the corporate tax being slashed, because all of those businesses and all of those repatriated funds are going to help everybody, whether you are poor or rich or right there in the middle class. It's going to help all Americans tremendously. And secondly, I love the way that it aggressively aids not only people in the middle class, but people a little bit below that who want to make it up to the middle class with a pretty severe lessening of the tax burden. And this is why Democrats are going crazy. This is why you see Democrats like Kamala Harris who are outright lying about the results of the plan, saying that for most middle-class Americans, that this is going to actually cause them to pay more in taxes, which is a blatant lie. The Democrats, they say that they're for the little guy, and then the Republicans are the ones who actually deliver for those of us who are fighting to get up to the middle class. So politically, this is also a big win for the Republicans.
Yeah, and now, don't want to count our chickens before they hatch, as they say, because, I mean, even though we may be close, but still got to keep, vigilant on it, because there's a banana peel in there somewhere.
Yeah, that is true, but the president just has to sign it. The White House really got what they wanted here, and as much as I don't like the division in the Republican Party, both sides of the Republican ideological spectrum support this for different reasons. So this was the one obvious win the Trump administration was supposed to have, and I'm glad that we're about to put the rubber stamp on it. And
talking a little bit about taxes, I do remember one of the posters Turning Point puts out, and it says taxation is stealth. I know I've mentioned it a few times on the podcast, and I just want to ask you, what does Turning Point, their position? I mean, obviously, it is taxation is stealth, but kind of explain that for some people, because when they hear that, they're like, well, we pay taxes, but it's something that we all should just accept.
Well, we definitely don't mean that we should get rid of all taxes and should live in a society of anarchy, but rather we should be doing everything that we can to minimize taxes to the highest possible level. Taxes should be only for the most necessary and done so in the most localized way possible. And we want to ingrain in our generation the idea that when the government takes money from its citizens, it's taking money from its citizens. That's our money that the government is seizing, and sometimes it's necessary for things like the national defense or for very basic things like roads, as socialists love to argue. But unfortunately, most of our tax money does not go to that. And it drives me crazy when millions of Americans act so joyfully towards the government when they get their tax return. When they get money back, they think the government's giving them a gift. No, the government, it stole too much of your money. It seized too much of your money. And then we get excited that some of it's being given back. That's not how it works. So
Yeah,
we would like to flip the script on that narrative.
yeah. I don't know if you saw Bernie Sanders' tweet right after the bill was passed early Saturday. I don't know when it was on Saturday, but he basically said that trillions of dollars was stolen from the American people. And when I read that, I'm like, what you can't steal was not yours. I mean, it's not your money, so why you can't be stealing
it? Fantastic, I love it.
Yeah, so all right, I don't want to take up too much of your time, so I definitely want to give time to talk about the upcoming student. So hold on, what is it called? The Student Action Summit, correct?
The Student Action Summit. So formerly we called it Winter in West Palm Beach. It's basically our big end of the year conference. It's our third annual. So we had the first one with around 350 students. The next one with around 800 students last year. And this one will probably be pretty close to 3,000 high school and college students. And the best part is applications are still open. So here are just a few of the speakers that we will be expecting. And really, this is the craziest lineup that I have seen lately. I'm just going to read off some of the headliners. Donald Trump Jr., Laura Trump, Charlie Kirk, Judge Janine Pirro, Dinesh D'Souza, Dennis Prager, Tommy Lauren, Jesse Waters, Joe Walsh, Lawrence B. Jones, Candace Owens, Governor Scott Walker, Greg Gutfeld, Ben Shapiro, Antonio Okafor, Brian Kilmeade, Sebastian Gorka, The Mooch, Joy Villa, Lisa Booth, and Guy Benson. Those are just the headliners. We'll add more as the event nears and also have a number of additional speakers in the breakout sessions. So this event costs nothing except for a $25 registration fee for qualified high school and college activists. Basically, if you've done work for the conservative movement on campus or you wish to next semester, you apply at tpusa.com/SAS, and everything will be taken care of. This is a pretty unique opportunity within the conservative movement, and with 3,000 vetted activists who will be arriving, this should be the largest young conservative event of its kind, 4 days long, December 19th to 22nd, and we hope that all of you listening can take advantage of this opportunity. Again, that is tpusa.com/SAS.
Now, I know obviously about Turning Point USA, but I always still come across people that don't know what Turning Point, their mission and everything. So kind of tell what people can expect from this summit, and I guess in the same kind of tell them about Turning Point in whole.
Absolutely. So you can expect a very high energy 4 days featuring the speakers I said before, alongside with the students and the special guests, between 3,000 and 3,500 fired up young conservatives of all types, people who are hardcore traditional Republicans, people who are hardcore card-carrying libertarians, a lot of conservatarians in the middle, people that are part of the conservative movement for a number of different reasons. It's going to be pretty beautiful, the diversity we're going to see as far as diversity of background, diversity of ethnicity, and diversity of thought process. So I hope that you all can make it out. Turning Point started 5 years ago in Charlie Kirk's garage in Chicago. We stand on originally 3 pillars: free market capitalism, limited government, and personal liberty. We added a 4th recently, standing with the nation of Israel, due to the blatant anti-Semitism that we were coming across on campus. And past that, we let students argue about it, debate about it. For example, one of our most likely best attended breakout debates will be Jeff Hunt and Austin Peterson debating the legalization of marijuana. So that's one issue, for example, we don't take a stand on because our students debate and fall on different sides of the issue. So we do everything that we can to foster and to train a spirit of true conservative activism in the movement. And after that, we let students figure it out for themselves, and it will be a really fun event if you're a diehard conservative.
All right, and what was the deadline for everyone to apply for the summit, and also where can they get you on social media and as well as Turning Point?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So I do not know exactly. I know that applications are filling up, so could be tomorrow, could be a little bit later. So I would say if you're listening to this, apply as soon as you can. It only takes 5 minutes. You can find me at Joshua Thifault, ThiFault, LT on Twitter and on Instagram. And on Facebook, same thing. Should just be facebook.com/Joshua Thifault, ThiSault. And lastly, if you would like to support this event financially, as the reason why it only costs a $25 registration fee for activists is because donors are paying for almost all of this event through tax-deductible donations. If you're interested in that, please go to tpusa.com/donate, and I would love to speak with you about supporting some of these students for the event.
All right. Thanks so much for your time.
All right. Thank you so much, Brian. Have a great day.
Yep, and thanks to Joshua for joining us. And just also want to say, with the event that's coming up pretty soon on the 19th, around that time, and if you want to attend that down in West Palm Beach, even though they don't have a specific date right now as far as the deadline, but at least a week from now, you should be good as far as submitting a application. But I would say don't wait until then. If you're interested, just go ahead and head over to tpusa.com and put in your application as soon as possible. So, and unfortunately, I was able to be at the Young Women's Leadership Summit in Dallas earlier this year, but I know I won't be able to make that down there. Unfortunately, I would love to take part in getting some interviews or whatever like that for the podcast, but hopefully everyone down there have a good time. And like I said, the people, if you are interested, put your application in now. And like I said, $25 for, that's about it. For all of that you would normally get at this event with the speakers and training and resources. This can't get any better than that. So that's it for this episode, and just appreciate everyone listening in. And on Thursday, I can say right now, we'll have someone with Second Vote, which is a kind of, you can say, conservative watchdog of retailers, to let people know where these retailers spend their money, on whether they give to liberal groups or neutral, or if they give to conservative groups. And so we'll have someone with Second Vote talk about that and their naughty or nice list that they put out every year around this time. So if you're interested in that, just tune in on Thursday. And until then, we'll chat with you later.